The other day, I was taking a walk in the park with a Ukrainian friend, and we were speaking Russian when we overheard a group of people having a heated discussion about Russia-Ukraine. I couldn't tell if they were Ukrainian or Russian, so I just kept quiet. Were they for or against, like whose side they were on, I didn't know, and to be honest, I didn't want to ruin our night by getting into arguments with strangers. After they passed, as my friend Tvoyi, she confirmed they were, saying she could easily tell from the way they were speaking. And now here's the interesting part. From just hearing the passing conversation, I found their way of speaking to be pretty regular, normal Russian. Like, I couldn't distinguish that quickly where they were from. And that's actually great news for Russian learners like you and me. Because it means that once you learn to understand one Russian accent, you can pretty much understand everyone. Think about it. In many languages, accents can vary dramatically from region to region. Like in my home country, the Netherlands, you can travel just 50 kilometers to the next province and encounter a noticeably different accent. Go 200 kilometers from the north to the south, and it's almost like a different language altogether. The same goes for English. I was in Edinburgh, Scotland last winter, and I just struggled understanding how they were speaking English. And that's not even to say about the differences between American, Australian, and UK English. But with Russian, you don't have this problem. Sure, there are some minor regional differences. For example, in the south, they might have softer G sound, дорого, богато. Или в некоторых местах люди не акают, which means they pronounce O as O, even in unstressed syllables, as in молоко versus молоко, how you usually learn Russian. But these differences are relatively small and won't significantly impact your understanding. So what does this mean for you as a Russian learner? It means that once you get comfortable with standard Moscow Russian, you'll be able to understand people from all over the Russian-speaking world. You won't need to learn multiple accents or really worry about not understanding someone from a different region. And this consistency in pronunciation across the Russian-speaking world is a huge time saver. Instead of spending time learning to decipher various accents, you can focus on improving your vocabulary, grammar, and speaking skills. Think about it. Most widely spoken languages have massive differences in their pronunciation, such as English, Spanish, and Arabic. Now, you may be wondering, like, Ari, how can I take advantage of this? Well, I've got some practical tips for you. Just focus on standard Moscow Russian because it's the default as it's widely understood and used in the media. Then listen to a variety of Russian speakers by watching series, for example, which will help you still understand the minor varieties in the way people speak. So the goal of language learning is communication, and the fact that Russian has relatively few strong regional accents means you'll be able to communicate effectively with a wider range of people more quickly. And let's break it down even further. When you're learning vocabulary, you don't have to worry about words being pronounced vastly differently in different regions. When you're practicing listening, you can use materials from various sources without fear of encountering accents you just cannot understand. And this consistency also makes it easier to improve your own pronunciation because you have a clear, consistent model to follow without the confusion of multiple competing pronunciations for the same words. Now, I'm not saying there are no differences at all in Russian speech across regions. Of course, there are some variations, but compared to many other languages, these differences are minor, and they will not impact your ability to understand and be understood. When you learn a new word, you don't have to worry that in some parts of Russia, it might sound completely different. The pronunciation will largely be the same wherever you go in the Russian-speaking world. And this consistency extends to grammar and vocabulary as well. While there might be some regional slang or expressions, the core language remains just uniform. Because Russian has a reputation of being super difficult, but in reality, there are lots of things that make it easy, like the lack of accents, like we spoke about in this video. And if you want to know 8 other reasons why Russian was easier to learn than I thought, watch this video next.